Wow, last day of the festival Leyendas del Rock, and I'm here with, I would say, an icon already. Satyr from SATYRICON. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being staying in the same hotel as us, and we can be here with not, that loud noise on the back, like all the interviews.
Exactly.
Anyway, tell me a little bit about the last album, the opera.
Live at the Opera is, to us, really an album more so than a live recording. I know it's called Live at the Opera, so in a way we're shooting ourselves in the foot by calling it live something. But the way the band sees the record is that it's as important as a new studio album. I mean, it took pretty much 1.5 years to arrange the musical arrangements for the opera chorus and Satyricon. And have you heard it? Yeah, and it's pretty different from those original recordings and the way they come across, and a lot of work behind it. So
I can imagine that. But was it difficult to coordinate all the the opera thing?
It wasn't difficult. It just takes time. So what I'm saying is, like, a normal live album is just the songs in front of an audience, press record, you mix it, blah blah blah, and then you go. This is a little bit more an occasion, like it's written for the occasion, and to me it's also first and foremost an album, not a DVD. I mean, perhaps the way the record company portrayed it is like the new Satyricon DVD plus the CD, but for me it's the CD, and then there's also the DVD as a bonus. But for example, personally, I listen to the album quite a lot because now I have a little bit of perspective. Now it's not work anymore. I can finally start to enjoy it. But I don't watch the DVD that often. That's more an effort. But I listen to it when I drive around in the car and things like that. And I think what happened to that record is that it gave the songs a completely new life and dimension that is exclusively for this occasion. So, and I see people talk, online about songs like Mother North, and I see that people say that, all right, now it sounds even better than before, and blah blah, and which is nice. But to me,
it's a good compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment, and I take the compliment. But for me, perhaps what is more interesting is that, like for example, the last song on The Age of Nero is called Den Siste, a Norwegian title. And the song Den Siste, to me, was always one of the sort of hidden secrets of Satyricon. I think it's a song that has a lot of emotion into it. It's very melancholic, very sad, but also quite majestic and epic. And when I started making the list of songs to write arrangements for, I think that, if not the first, the second song that I wrote down, because I saw that as a candidate for something that would be lifted into the eyes of people. Like with a choir, it will be so obvious to them what kind of power lies within this song. And when I listen back to Live at the Opera now, it is, if not definitely among my favorites. So I think
it seems to be very personal for you.
Yeah,
like you have some sort of attachment to it.
It is, and I think Live at the Opera isn't just about giving like songs a new dimension, but it's also perhaps showing, for those who don't have time to dig deep, what really lives within the song, because we haven't changed the songs. What we have done is that we have amplified what was already there from before.
You just said that you listened to that album in the car. What else did you listen to? Any other band that you like?
I actually recently discovered a new, relatively new, 4 or 5-year-old Norwegian band that lies somewhere in the borderline between rock, punk and hardcore, called The Good, The Bad and The Sugly. I like it a lot. You should check out especially their album called Anti-War Music. And I think like a good introduction for fans would be a song like Call the Cops. Yeah, and it's one of those bands that when you hear them you can tell that, okay, so they got a background in punk and hardcore and rock, but you can also tell when you listen to the riffs that they have listened to a lot of Norwegian black metal. And the difference between you know, the primal drive of punk and the primal drive of black metal in its original form is not that big.
25 years on stage. Tell me, almost 25, yeah, true. Your biggest highlight on your career, and is there anything you regret?
I mean,
it's a hard one, I know.
Yeah, the show at the Royal Norwegian Opera is definitely one of the biggest highlights. I think that even if it was incredibly short and very, very chaotic, we played the main stage when Metallica headlined at Download in 2006. And I don't think the show in itself, even if it got great reviews, it was ridiculous because it was so short. But I remember very well the feeling of walking on stage in front of 85,000 people was powerful, and it was also a proud moment for me as the leader of this band, because I could tell on stage that none of these people that I play with are afraid. They like it. You have to remember, like, when you see club bands on big festivals, I'm not talking 10, 20, but when you see club bands playing in front of 50, 60,000 people, they look very, very small. And the reason why they look very small is not because of the physical dimension of the stage, but it's because they are afraid. They're like little dogs that are with a tail.
Wet chickens, you know.
Yeah, they're afraid because there's too many people, everything is too big. But what I'm proud of with my colleagues is that everyone seems to grow a few inches taller on a big stage. It's a band that is made for the big occasion. And watching my colleagues take on a huge crowd like that made me proud. So that's another highlight, definitely. As far as regrets,
I know that you have some, you know, episodes on a tour in the United States. I don't know if we should talk about that, but I can't believe that.
I mean, that doesn't really concern me personally, so I have no regrets. But what my regrets are is wasting the time and effort and energy of my band through playing small bars and clubs in the Midwest in the early 2000s where there was no apparent interest in Norwegian black metal. I mean, I remember Satyricon, Immortal Christian and Angel Corpse touring together, and we were all rookies and inexperienced when it came to touring the States. And in a way, I'm just very thankful for the people who actually came out and supported. It really made me feel like, you know, doing not that tour, but tours like that, is that what's the point? I'm not one of those guys that want to sort of build a crowd. What I would like to do is to play in front of people who actually like the type of music that I like, as opposed to trying to persuade them to like it. Yeah.
Well, tell me the funniest moment of these 25 years. Like something that happened to you, I don't know, in a concert, in a festival, in a tour, something like, I don't know, that's gonna make us laugh.
I don't know if it's gonna make you laugh, but the bizarre thing about the touring is that the abnormal becomes normal. You know, if a family goes on holiday and they have a minor little disturbance event happening, it will be something that can ruin their holiday, or at least they will talk about it every day for the 2 weeks they are on vacation. A touring band is so used to awkward and bizarre episodes that becomes, you know, normality. And
Fans used to do like weird things sometimes just to get close to you and get your attention. I can imagine that can happen very often, mostly after 25 years.
well, I mean, you have stuff like that, but that's always good-hearted. But it's also more like, you know, when you have had numerous encounters with, for example, law enforcement without actually having done anything. It's just a misunderstanding. You start to sort of, like, let's say, first time you run into the police, it can be a little bit of an intimidating experience. After a while, you just start to understand that they're just out there to do their job and look after, you know, the public. So you know, I remember very well our tour bus being overtaken by a US SWAT team because of a argument between the bus driver and someone in the crew. But the band was sleeping, so we didn't know anything about it, you know. So we were just all waking up by a SWAT team and rifles pointing at us in our bunks. But when you had stuff like that happen quite a few times, you're quite relaxed about it. So you don't go into panic mode. You're more like.
That's what you were saying before. It becomes like
normality. It becomes normality, and you start asking, what is the problem? And you identify yourself and say, what can I do? You know, and like step outside. Okay, I'll step outside. You know, so you become very relaxed. But of course, someone who's not used to life on the road is terrified and never wants to travel ever.
Yeah, exactly. Never tour again. Okay.
Hi, I'm Satyr from SATYRICON, and you're watching EMP Live TV.